Phase 3 of SoD is here, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know to succeed as an Affliction Warlock. Let's start off then with the stat priority. The first one we're going to want is, of course, hit chance, so that our spells actually hit the bosses we're trying to kill. One thing to note is that in the Affliction tree, there is a talent we're going to be partially taking to give us some of our hit chance. But this only works with our Affliction spells, and therefore will not work on things like Shadow Bolt. So this is something that you do need to be aware of when you are picking this talent. The second one, of course, being spell power, is going to increase our power of our spells with pure brute force. This one I think is pretty self-explanatory. Same again with crit chance, increasing the chance that we're going to deal a critical hit. Thanks to the new rune we're getting in Phase 3 as well, a lot more of our spells can actually crit, and therefore crit chance is going to be a lot more important going forwards. Speaking of crit, intellect actually also improves your crit a little bit, and it's going to give you some mana as well. So this is a really good all-around stat, but overall, plain old crit chance still comes out on top. After that then, things like spirit and stamina are going to be the stats you're looking for, but not as much as those higher ones. Don't also forget that we do have a spell called Life Tap, where we can convert health into mana, and therefore spirit at the end is a little bit less important anyway. Now, moving on to the talents and runes we're going to be taking. Of course, a lot of this is going to be in the Affliction tree. First of all, we're putting 5 out of 5 points into Improved Corruption. This is going to reduce the cast time of our Corruption spell by 2 seconds, basically making it instant. And then, like I said about the hit points, we're going to put 2 into Suppression, reducing the chance for enemies to resist our Affliction spells by 4%. On the next row down, we're going to put our 2 points into Improved Life Tap. This is the other one I mentioned where we're putting health into mana, increases the amount of mana awarded by our Life Tap by 20%. And then 5 out of 5 into Improved Drain Life, one of the core spells we're going to be using in our rotation later on in this video, increasing the health drained by Drain Life by 10%. On the next row down, we're going to go Amplify Curse, 3-minute cooldown on this spell, increasing the effect of your next curse of weakness or Curse of Agony by 50%, which is massive, or your next Curse of Exhaustion by 20%, and that does last 30 seconds. We're then going to put 2 out of 2 into Nightfall, which is another fantastic talent in the Affliction tree, giving our Corruption and Drain Life spells a 4% chance to cause us to enter a Shadow Trance after damaging our opponent. And this is going to reduce the cast time of our next Shadow Bolt completely, making it instant. And trying to fish for these procs is really important for us. Now, I don't really actually think that the rest of the talents are really that good in Affliction. We are going to be moving over to the other trees for the rest of them. But don't worry, this is still a really Affliction-y build. 3 out of 3 points going into Improved Imp, increasing the effect of our Imp's Firebolt, Fire Shield, and Blood Pact. Imp, of course, is what we're going to be using, which is passively going to be shooting out God knows what at our enemies. And then over here, Improved Shadow Bolt. Remember, we're trying to be getting instant ones from Nightfall. So Improved Shadow Bolt, where the critical strikes increase the Shadow Bolt damage dealt to the target by 20% until 4 non-periodic damage sources are applied. And that's going to last a maximum of 12 seconds. Going down, it's going to be 5 out of 5 into Bane, reducing the casting time again of our Shadow Bolt and Immolate by 0.5 and our Soulfire by 2 seconds. Going down once more again, we're going to put 2 out of 2 into Improved Firebolt, reducing the cast time of our Imp's Firebolt by 1 second, and then 5 out of 5 into Devastation, increasing the crit chance of our Destruction spells specifically by 5%. 1 point then going into Shadow Burn, another great talent that I love. It's on a 15-second cooldown, instantly blasting the target, and if the target dies within 5 seconds Shadow Burn, then we are going to get a Soul Shard. This is really great because it's an instant cast spell that we can use on the move as well, and of course when the boss is nearly dead. We've got 3 points left to use now, and I'm going to put 2 into Destructive Reach, increasing the range of our destruction spells by 20%, and the last one into Ruin, increasing the critical strike damage bonus of your destruction spells completely by 100%. Now let's have a look at what runes we're going to be taking. First up, on the gloves, we're going to be taking Haunt, unleashing a ghostly soul on the enemy, dealing damage, and increasing all shadow damage over time that we deal to that target by 20%. So you want to put this on at the start of the fight and keep it up so that we can increase the damage over time that we're doing. Of course, Affliction is using a lot of dots or damage over time spells, and this is going to be fantastic for us. On the pants, it's going to be Demonic Pact. Your pet's critical strikes apply the Demonic Pact effect to your party members for 45 seconds, increasing the spell damage and healing by 10% of your spell damage, or 60 divided by 2, whichever is higher. And this is a really great way to increase, obviously, the damage, etc., and healing that our party are doing. Master Channeler, we're going to put on the chest. This is going to, again, really improve our drain life. So it's no longer going to be channeled, and it's going to last 15 seconds with a 15-second cooldown, meaning we can keep it up on the boss consistently. It's going to cost 100% more mana and heals you for 50% more each time it deals damage as well, as a little bonus there. But I think the fact that it's no longer channeled and just lasts for 15 seconds is great enough as it is. Grimoire of Synergy is what we're using on the waist. This is a fantastic 30-minute buff that we can use. Recite from a Dark Tome, granting damage done by you or your summoned demon a 5% chance to increase the damage done by the other by 25% for 15 seconds, which is massive. Basically, just a passive buff there that can give us a huge load of extra damage for a little bit. Really, really simple one again on the boots. It's going to be Demonic Knowledge, increasing our spell damage and healing by a value equal to 10% of our demon's total stamina plus intellect as well. Another great passive boost to us. And now for the phase 3 runes, let's start off with the head, where we're going with Pandemic. Oh, my favourite. Periodic damage from our Corruption, Unstable Affliction, Curse of Agony, Immolate, Curse of Doom, and Siphon Life abilities can now be critical strikes. This is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, these are a lot of the spells that we are going to be using, dots, etc., and curses that can now deal crits, making crits ever so more important. And then lastly on the wrist, we're going to go for Unstable Affliction. Shadowy Energy destroys the target slowly, doing a dot over 15 seconds. In addition, if it's dispelled, it will cause damage to the Dispeller and silence them, so it's great in PvP as well. Only one Unstable Affliction or Immolate per Warlock can be active on the target at a time. And this is a really, really powerful DOT, damage over time, that we actually can be using. Now, how is it all going to come together and go into a big, juicy, exciting rotation? So, before we get into the steps here, there's a few things you want to try and do. First, if you can, precast a Shadow Bolt. Make sure your imp is up and is attacking. You don't want to forget that, of course. Then we're going to go in and apply Curse of Recklessness. This is going to increase their melee attack power, but reduce their armor, making them more vulnerable for 2 minutes. Then we're going to cast Haunt on cooldown. Remember, this is going to increase all shadow damage taken by the target we cast it on by 20%. So this is why we want to use it at the start of the rotation, getting that shadow damage they're taking increased, and then keeping it up as much as possible. Then we're going to keep up our Unstable Affliction, Corruption, and Immolate, keeping those maintained on the target. Don't forget, these are main damage over times. And remember, only one Unstable Affliction or Immolate can be up at one time per Warlock for the target. You've also got your Drain Life. Remember, this isn't channeled anymore. We can keep this up on the target for 15 seconds, and it's going to be on a 15-second cooldown, so we can use this thoroughly. And then we're going to be using Shadow Bolt as our filler. Apart from that, you can use Shadow Burn at the end of the fight when the boss is going to die, remember, getting that soul shard from there, or also when we're on the move, because it is instant. If you are looking to change the spec a bit for AoE, what I would recommend doing is taking out Haunt and putting on Shadow Bolt Volley. Your Shadow Bolt now strikes up to 5 targets within a chain distance of 10 yards, but for 20% reduced damage. And also Immolation Aura burns nearby enemies for damage over every 2 seconds and reduces all magic damage taken by 10%. And that is going to last until cancelled. Some really great AoE in there. One thing to note as well with the Shadow Bolt Volley, where it's going to be spitting out 5 Shadow Bolts, is that it can also proc from your Nightfall talent, giving your Corruption and Drain Life spells a 4% chance to cause you to enter the Shadow Trance, remember, where your next Shadow Bolt will be instant. Completely. And that will proc as well with Shadow Bolt Volley, meaning you're going to fire out 5 of them instantly, which of course, paired with the Immolation Aura, it's going to be really good in AoE. And that's it, guys. That is how you play Affliction Warlock in Phase 3 of Season of Discovery, SoD. If you need any more help or have any questions, etc., please do consider joining our Discord. We've got a really friendly and active community there, playing both Retail and Classic and Wattalk. And if you want to go one step further and support the channel, you can also join my Patreon. There's a link down below for that as well, where you're going to get a ton of behind the scenes content and blogs. Also open up a VIP channel in Discord where you can ask me any questions. You can DM me on Patreon, etc, etc. And a lot of other resources like my WoW spreadsheets and UI imports, including Details, Voodoo, and a lot of others. If you're looking for more SoD guides, head over onto my channel. You can see there's a current guides videos shelf here. I always keep this updated and I remove any old ones that are no longer relevant, making sure that this shelf you can go to and know that you're always getting the latest seasons guides available to you. Thanks for watching, guys, and have fun in Phase 3 of SoD.